Welcome to another episode of Broken to Spoken, where we break real stories into simple English and build your language skills one word at a time. Today we're exploring a mystery in the skies, a crash that stunned India, and a report that left more questions than answers. If you're ready to learn, listen and think deeply, this episode is for you. Let's begin. Now you might ask, why are we learning about an aeroplane crash in English? What's the point of understanding this kind of story in a second language? Let me tell you why. Because English is not just a language. It's a global tool, a tool for understanding news, technology, science, travel, and even mystery. This story about a high-tech aeroplane, international investigation, secret reports, was written and reported in English first. The technical documents, the aviation warnings, the theories, they were all published in English. Even the Wall Street Journal leak was in English. So if you want to read real reports, ask real questions, think like a global citizen, you need English. So don't just learn English to pass a test. Learn it to see the world more clearly. Because when you can understand stories like this,
you're not just speaking English, you're thinking in it.
On June 12, 2025, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner took off from Ahmedabad Airport in India. Just seconds after takeoff, something went terribly wrong. One of the most modern passenger jets in the world lost power. It crashed, and many lives were lost. Exactly 1 month later, on July 12th, India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, or AAIB, released its first official report, what we call a preliminary report. Let's pause there. The word preliminary means early or first. A preliminary report is not the final report. It's usually released within 30 days of an accident and contains the basic facts, but not the full explanation. Repeat after me. Preliminary. Now here's where things start to feel strange. This Indian government report wasn't first published in India. No, it was released, or rather leaked, in the Wall Street Journal. That's an American newspaper. In fact, it was published 20 hours before the Indian government officially released it. That's odd, isn't it? A report about an Indian airline, a crash in India, published in the US first. Why? Who gave it to them? And why so early? Already, the mystery is growing. Now let's look at what the report actually said. It describes how the plane took off at exactly 8:08:35 UTC, Coordinated Universal Time. That's a global time standard used in aviation. 17 seconds after takeoff, just 17, both engines shut down completely. The aircraft began to lose speed and altitude. It was falling. And what caused this? The report says the fuel cutoff switches had moved to the cutoff position. Let's break that down. A cutoff switch is a device that stops something, like fuel, power or electricity, from flowing. So when the fuel cutoff switch is turned to the cutoff position, it means the fuel to the engines was turned off. Repeat, cutoff switch. To cut off something means to stop it suddenly. So let's think. Why would a pilot during takeoff turn off the fuel to both engines? The report says the pilot did not intentionally flip the switches. In fact, when one of the engines stopped, the cockpit voice recorder picked up the pilot saying, "Why did you cut off?" And the other pilot said, "I didn't do it." That's chilling. Chilling means something that makes you feel cold with fear or discomfort, like a scary story or a mysterious moment. This was a chilling moment. Two trained pilots, and neither knew why the engines turned off. Now let's go a little deeper into aviation. These fuel switches, called engine fuel control switches, don't move easily. You can't bump them by accident. To move them from run to cut off, you need to pull them up, then push them down. They're spring-loaded. That means they're designed to resist casual movement. So how did both switches move, almost at the same time? This is a critical question. Some say maybe one pilot flipped them by mistake, but is that possible? And if it was one pilot, why both switches? Now let's go a little deeper into aviation. Now here's where the story takes another twist. Back in 2018, the US Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, issued a Special Airworthiness Information Bulletin, also known as an SAIB. In it, they warned that these fuel switches on Boeing 787s could possibly move accidentally if bumped or touched in the wrong way. They didn't call it an emergency. They didn't say mandatory. They simply said recommended inspection. But let me ask you this. If something controls whether your engine has fuel or not, shouldn't that be mandatory?
Language focus.
Let's compare. Mandatory means it's required, you must do it. Recommended means it's suggested but optional. Mandatory, wear your seatbelt. Recommended, drink 2 litres of water. In this case, the inspection was recommended, not mandatory, so Air India didn't do it. And because of that, this plane may have crashed. Now here's where the official story ends and the theories begin. Some people think this was a pilot error, some think it was deliberate, even a suicide, but others, they go even deeper. Some claim it was a cyber attack. They say a foreign government or a competitor may have used electronic jamming or remote hacking to interfere with the plane. Some even accuse China, saying that China's new aircraft, the C919, is a direct competitor to Boeing and they had a reason to sabotage. Now, these are only theories, not facts, but this is where language and logic meet. Let's look at this word, sabotage. It means secretly damaging something, often to hurt a rival. If you damage a machine, a company, or a reputation on purpose, that's sabotage. What's important here isn't just what we believe, but how we ask questions. Why didn't the fuel switches get checked after the 2018 warning? Why was the Indian report released in the US first? Why were there no clear conclusions, no solid recommendations? Even the CEO of Air India said, "This report is far from complete. The investigation is still going." And that's another English phrase, far from over. It means this is not the end. There's more coming. Today we learned the meaning of preliminary, what a cut-off switch is, the difference between mandatory and recommended, what chilling and sabotage mean, and how to use far from over. And more importantly, we used a real story with real mystery to practice real English. When stories are confusing, language can help you understand. And when English becomes your tool, not your barrier, the world opens up to you. If this podcast helped you today, please share it with someone. Leave a review and come back next time where we use true stories to speak better English. This is Broken to Spoken. Thank you for listening.